All right, welcome back to Steeler Thoughts and Chief Feelings, episode 46. We don't have a player for this episode because apparently no one has ever been good and worn number 46. Um, but anyway, I am your co-host, Chris. I'm the philosophy professor and the Steelers fan here.
And I'm your co host, Ajay. I'm the psychiatrist and Chiefs fan here. Thanks to all of you who follow along on our YouTube channel. We just put part of the film review up through the course of last night and this morning, and the rest of it will be through the course of tonight and tomorrow morning. And those of you who follow along on social media at STCF715 on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. In lieu of a comment of the week this week, I'm just going to shout out Cash Out Season, who continues to follow along. We appreciate the love and the commentary. So shout out to YouTube user Cash Out Season.
Yeah,
So
they've been such an avid follower. Yeah, we have some. Well, I don't know. It's maybe this will be more fun than I don't know, but this is. It was not a fun week of watching football for us.
it was unusual for us in the time of our podcast to have both of our teams lose. That actually hasn't happened that often. And the other one was, we have the second week in a row now that unusually for our podcast, the Steelers remain higher in the AFC standings than the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna last. We'll probably, yeah, let's suss that out. Like, who should be more worried? But I think it's pretty clear who should be more worried. Um, do you want what order do you want to go? I mean, last week
Let's do
we
the
did bad.
Steelers game first because we did the Chiefs game first
Yeah, that's
last time.
fair. I do think the Steelers game is comparably worse news than the Chiefs game this week, so we can keep the trend of doing the bad news first. Yeah, it sucked. Like, let's not sugarcoat it, right? Like, the Seahawks just looked better in every phase, basically. And I texted you like even at halftime we were up 14-7, but we had like 80-ish yards of offense at that point and had somehow parlayed it into 14 points. Like it was super efficient, I guess, in some respects, but we were not good.
Yeah, I should preface the recaps by saying that I flew to Milwaukee for a wedding on Sunday morning. And so I did not watch, I probably watched a total of, well, of the Chiefs game, I actually caught a decent amount live, surprisingly, mainly through hotel lobbies. But because the wedding occurred at like a couple, we went from like the hotel I was staying at to another hotel to like a wedding venue. So in the middle, while we were kind of waiting around as things were moving, fortunately, the game was on. So I did actually, and then standing outside the wedding venue, I watched the end on my phone. So I actually caught like a decent amount of it. But for the early games, I caught very little. I saw a little bit of red zone here and there, but that was that. I
Yeah.
think the first thing I wanted to talk about this game, because it was so unusual for what we have seen recently, is that no matter how the Steelers have looked in the past couple years, they always somehow seem to be the better team in the fourth quarter, and that was not the case this time.
Yeah. No, I don't think there was a quarter in which we looked like the better team here. The second quarter was okay. But as the second quarter, there's a sequence there where we got like an interception on fourth down and a big return, and we turned that into a touchdown. I think that was the second quarter. That was, we looked competent there, played complimentary football, but yeah, no, the third and fourth quarters were both bad. Like we had basically it seemed not much left in the tank after halftime. Aside from Jalen Warren, like the one player, really the two players that I think were good in this game were Jalen Warren and Jalen Ramsey. Apparently, the Jalen. But even Jalen Ramsey got beat on a deep shot. So I think the only player that I would like unreservedly praise would be Warren in this one. He was good. But
Did
we had,
you?
yeah, nothing in the fourth really. It was just sort of Rogers, threw the pick. Rogers was bad in this. I think I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. But yeah, sorry, you were about to ask.
Well, I was gonna say, how much of it did you feel like was the Steelers just playing poorly, and how much of it do you feel like was the Seahawks being better than we imagined?
Yeah, I guess that's hard to gauge. I mean, uh, it seemed like this was a situation. I mean, we talked last week about situations where like the scheme is not winning, and then like what can you do when the scheme's not winning? It seemed like our scheme was not winning. They played a lot of too high and then zone under, and so like the crossing routes that were nicely effective last week were not going to be effective against that. Uh, and it seemed like we didn't have an answer really. It was you know, whatever passing plays we called didn't, a lot of them ended up being dump offs or screens. And, Warren did some damage on those. He had a 65-yard catch and run actually, which was really cool. Um, but there was nothing else that was reliably successful. Like DK Metcalf had, I think, another two drops in this. Like he can't catch. I guess he's had drop issues before too, but it seems like they've become. I mean, maybe I'm just noticing them more now. That they feels like he couldn't have been this bad at catching before. um, uh, yeah,
You're having like the same, it's like Chiefs fans are having this experience when we watch DeAndre Hopkins like snagging a one-handed touchdown for the
yeah,
Ravens, and like we're like, well, what happened last year?
yeah.
Like he had that one cool catch against the Bucks, and then he had a lot of like really close to cool catches that were dropped all the time. But he
Didn't
figured it out.
did he have that drop in the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
The
Super
one before
Bowl.
after. Yeah.
And a couple were like big third downs where like Mahomes would like scramble out and find him, and then like he would make a diving attempt and drop it. And like they weren't ever like easy catches. I want to give him that credit, but like he's making those catches now, it feels like in
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like we're getting the worst version of DK Mac. I mean, I don't know. Last week, like first week of the season, he still made some plays. I mean, I think they overshadowed his drops because he really turned some, apparently short yardage catches into big gains, and that was awesome for us. But this week, the drops are the story for me, at least when I think about his performance. He did catch he like basically boxed out the corner and caught a touchdown pass. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of good things to say about it. I mean, uh, yeah, maybe to talk about Rodgers for a second. He definitely still has an arm, and I thought he looked sort of maybe better in terms of his pocket movement in this one than last week. Um, but I don't know what was going on. I mean, he had a play in the it might have been the second quarter, so maybe I should retract my statement that we were good in that. But he had a play maybe in the second quarter where he basically threw it right to an underneath defender. It bounced off his face mask, and then popped up, and then I think Roman Wilson had to basically play defense to keep it from being intercepted by like three other players. So, uh, and then he had the two picks, one of which I don't know. You could maybe say wasn't his fault. The one in the end zone in the third quarter. He sort of scrambled left there and tried to throw it to Pat
Oh yeah.
Freiermuth, and Calvin Austin looked like he broke off and tried to catch it, but ended up tipping it up to the defender. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would blame Rodgers for that one, I guess, uh, but still, like he had two passes that deserved to be picked off and were picked off in this. Well, he had two passes that deserved to be picked off and two that were, and one of them didn't. And the one of them that was maybe didn't deserve to be picked off, but whatever. This was a two interception game, I think, by any metric. So he deserved those picks. And the touchdown again wasn't that impressive. It was just like lob it up and DK will catch it. So I don't know. I don't know if he was just not seeing the field well or if he was forcing it, or being inaccurate. He did have an awesome scramble. This won't show up in like the highlights, but he had an awesome scramble and throw on the run to, I think it was Freiermuth who couldn't make the catch, but it was like probably like a 60-yard throw along the sideline, which looked quite accurate. So he still has the physical talents to some degree, to some good degree, but I think this was a case where the scheme wasn't working and he was not able to elevate us.
Yeah. We went from like being surprised that he was able to execute, not able, but willing to execute the scheme in week one to, I mean, this was kind of the problem with Rodgers the last like 4 or 5 years is that when we run the Rodgers offense, it doesn't seem to work that well.
Yeah, yeah. It's not clear to me that we were running the Rodgers offense or not, but whatever we were running was not doing anything, right? Like it ended up toward the end, like in the fourth quarter, it felt like every pass was like a dump off or just a heave it across the middle and hope it doesn't get picked play. Um, so I don't know. Yeah, that was not
Yeah,
good.
I guess calling it the Rodgers offense probably creates some implications that I didn't intend. What I meant was when Rodgers has to make something out of like out of his own
Yeah,
doing rather than something scripted by whatever offense is being called.
right. Yeah, I see what you mean.
And and what do you think? I guess what's your degree of worry about the defense? Because this is not the defense that I expected to see this year.
Yeah, no, it seems pretty concerning. That's 2 straight weeks we've given up like essentially 400 yards to offenses that no one expected to be powerhouses, and were not powerhouses in their other games. The Jets put up what, like six this week or something?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that was not good.
Fields had three completions in the fourth quarter, by the fourth quarter. I don't know. It was like, man, he looked like an all-star against us in here. Um,
Yeah.
the defense seems very concerned. I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of injuries on the defense at this point, and I think that could be an explanation for why there were so many sort of dig routes that were open. I mean, I don't know why it was dig routes in particular that were open. I guess that's just what they were calling against us. But there were a lot of plays where it felt like, oh, yep, that's right down the middle of the field again. And a lot of them felt like they came on third down. It was like we would get into a healthy third down situation for us on defense, then they would convert anyway, and that was pretty frustrating. Um, yeah, I think in the beginning of the game at least, the run defense looked a little bit better. There were some gashes, but it wasn't. There were a significant higher proportion of run stuffs or even tackles for losses. I don't. So I guess that was a modest improvement, but the pass defense was terrible, and we're missing secondary players, but it was bad. It showed. Right? So yeah, I think I'd be pretty concerned about the defense right now. It's hard to know like where the problem. Like, is it a scheme issue? Are we just too predictable, or is it a personnel issue? I mean, I think Watt has 0 sacks this year. One of them you could have maybe said like he tackled Justin Fields for a loss, and I think you could have counted that as a sack, but whatever. Like um, maybe it was a draw, a QB draw play or something. But yeah, I mean Watt's not. This is again, I guess, just the kind of thing that I said leading into the season. He's not his dominant self, but the rest of the defense isn't doing anything to, you know, make up for that. So yeah, I think until we see some otherwise, expect the defense to be bad uh, going forward. It's
Well,
not great.
that's not encouraging.
No, no. We're starting with the bad news again. I think I don't know. When we get to the Chiefs, I think there's like there might be more optimism there. But I think for us here, like, geez, like, what do you say worked well? Like, what did work well in this game? I honestly, the screen game to Jalen Warren might be the only thing. Maybe the box out throws to like, so it was DK Metcalf, and then the 2 point conversion there was to Darnell Washington. He didn't really need to box out, as it turned out, but both of them I think can make contested catches in the end zone. So yeah, but other than that, like there's not a lot of good things to draw from this game, in my opinion. Seems like we got out coached, outplayed, and whatever you want.
Is this now like after having like an objectively exciting game and an objectively saddening game. What's your outlook for the rest of the season going forward now?
Yeah, I think this is, I mean, with the caveat that it's easy to overreact early in the season, but we're drawing unlimited data, so that's why it's easy to overreact because the data is so limited. But this looks bad, right? I, I my guess right now is that we don't, we finish under 500 and maybe like fairly substantially under 500.
Oh no.
But again, it's 2 weeks. Uh, give him some time, relax, as our quarterback likes to say. Uh, but it's hard to be optimistic after that performance, I think. Like if I had to guess our record right now, I mean, on the other hand, we have a stretch coming up where we play like a bunch of seemingly not that good teams. So I think, we could end up building some momentum there. But uh,
Even just by the nature of having four games against the Browns and the Burrowless Bengals, like,
yeah,
although Jake Browning, I feel like, if people really want to get conspiratorial here, like when you compare Jake Browning's success to Burrow's success, it's not that different, honestly.
yeah. I mean, I don't know that we should take Browning to be a walk in the park on def. Well, we should. Our defense should take nothing to be a walk in the park. But I don't think we should assume those games are going to be easy games. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Browning does have some degree of success running that offense. And I mean, I remember we played him at the end of 2023 and we won that game, but it was tense until I think we pulled away in the fourth quarter. That was not like an easy game.
Yeah. 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 So I wouldn't assume anything there, but um, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. This looked like a what would be the like a 6-11 kind of team, maybe, right?
Interesting. The the one thing that's a little troubling to me is that this looked like the worst case. When you're like, okay, aging team, not quite there anymore. Like things are kind of falling. I believe the Steelers are the like oldest team in the league by average age,
I mean, just take
and
Rodgers. Yeah,
yeah, he just
he
pulls
helped
the
the
mean up
average.
quite a bit. But like, so I feel like that was the worst case. But week one was not the best case. Like week one was like an anomaly. That's not. I thought the best case would be, a little bit like what the Chiefs looked like last year, where it's like hang around with teams, squeak out wins based on veteran know-how, never look that awesome. I don't think there was ever a universe where we were thinking there was going to be like a dominant Steelers team this year. But the best case scenario was, stick with teams and figure it out at the end.
And yeah, don't hurt yourself too much. Oh, I didn't even mention like the biggest,
Oh God, yeah.
the dumbest play of this game, which was that kickoff that Caleb Johnson decided not to catch, or I guess tried to catch and then decided not to pursue when it went over his head and sat in the end zone. He just walked to the sideline and then the Seahawks got it for a touchdown. It was like you're just watching it happen. You're like, ah, okay, that's how this is gonna go. So, um, yeah, that
But
was
on one hand, it's just like you gifted the other team 7 points and lost by 10. So like there's not a better
yeah.
gift than that.
But well, we lost by what? It was 31-17. So we lost by two touchdowns.
Oh,
But
for some reason the 24-14 was just the final score in my head.
yeah,
Oh,
no. We did we did I can't remember when that field goal drive later on was that competent? I don't know. I don't remember offhand. There was like one or two modestly competent drives in the second half that we had. That is the best praise I can give. But Yeah. So we gifted them a 7 points, but arguably they gifted us, or we took, I mean, like that, the sequence where we had that big interception return off of a fourth down play, and then the touchdown to D. Like I think we sort of, that was stealing some points there in some respect too. So I don't know. I think it's sort of a wash to me. Maybe we earned a little bit more of those points than the Seahawks earned, but um, it did feel like 31-17 was a pretty accurate reflection. Maybe a little bit even generous to us of how that game went. But,
Well,
still, we by gifting them 7 points, we lost by two touchdowns. So I don't know. Yeah. No. Without that play, we'd be in it's a different game in the fourth quarter, and still nothing our offense was doing was really giving us that much confidence. But maybe something happens there and it goes differently.
yeah.
But yeah, that's so I don't know. I was trying to think of like positive things to like think about after this game or to look for, and I don't know. I think Jalen Warren should get a heavier dose. I don't know why he's not just being treated as the feature back. It seems like we still are trying to
Yeah.
integrate Gainwell. Um,
And has Gainwell done anything? Like every time he has the ball, it doesn't seem that great.
no, he looks quick, but he also looks like he's not hitting the holes or where you would want him to go, right? There's been a couple times I've thought where like there was one play in this game where it looked like he should have just taken it outside, like the blocking was set up for that, and he took it sort of not far enough outside, right into like the tackle. Um, there might have been another, but yeah, I don't think he's done anything that would lead us to think that yeah, he needs to be a big feature of this offense. So yet he still is. So I don't know. I don't know.
It kind of like there. It kind of reminds me of what was it, the 2010 Chiefs when we had Thomas Jones and Jamal Charles, and everyone was like, "This Jamal Charles guy looks like really, really good." Like what? And like Todd Haley was like, "Nope, Thomas Jones is the feature back." And to be fair, Thomas Jones wasn't bad. He was like average to slightly above average, but it was just like, I think this other guy's awesome. Like, why is he not getting the ball more?
Yeah, wasn't this was that the year where like Jones's average was like 3 point something and Charles was 5 point or maybe six
6.4,
point
six
something?
point
Yeah,
four.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being perplexed by that. Like, why are so many of these being given to Jones? But yeah, yeah, arguably is. It's not that extreme. I don't think Jalen Warren is close to 6 yards a carry, but
The difference between the two might be similar though, because I feel like Jones
That's
is better
true.
than Gainwell.
By about 3 yards a carry. Yeah, Gainwell getting about one, and Warren getting about four.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you take? I mean, I guess okay. Let's try to give this a positive spin. Uh, we've got a veteran quarterback who knows his way around an offense and a defense, and still has physical talents. Why would be nice is if he would do some more pinpoint passing because I think so far we haven't seen him do that too much. And it seems like when the scheme isn't winning and getting people pretty open as it was in week one, he might need to do more of that. And maybe like we'll see if he still can. It looked like certainly on that deep throw to Fryermuth, he could do some pinpoint passing in in a very difficult kind of throw. So he should still be able to do that, but I don't know. And then defense. I mean, I guess the only thing there with the defense is like it can't be this bad all year, right? Like surely it will improve. Mustn't it? I don't know.
I mean, you'd imagine a defense in black and yellow at some point is going to look good.
Yeah.
Although, there have been some Mizzou Tigers defenses that have been really bad, but that's not what I was referring to.
They look good this year though, right? I don't know about the
Yeah.
defense, but
Yeah, I mean, they seem pretty promising. I'm very excited.
yeah.
But okay, so what do you think? This next one is in New England, right?
Yeah.
Do you know people going to this game?
Uh, no, I don't think anyone I know is going. Um, yeah. Uh, I don't have high expectations though. I mean, um, uh,
I mean, the Patriots did. They lost to the Raiders and they beat the Dolphins, who really did not look good so far this year. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to say where the Patriots are right now.
that's true. Like it is hard to evaluate how how good they are. But didn't they scored like 33, I think, against the Dolphins, right?
Yeah, but the Dolphins defense, I mean, remember, the Colts like scored on every possession against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Although I think they did it again against the Broncos too, so who knows? Maybe the
For
Colts are
no
just a
reason.
juggernaut.
It's just that's what I said was going to happen. I don't know why they're good, but they're good. Um,
Oh yeah, man, this is gonna go down as. I mean, it could be that they're like the Saints of this year, and they just like start awesome and then are terrible. But if this, I mean, this would be like an all-time prediction if this keeps going.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that. But yeah, that's there's some something to take solace in that the Patriots are not obviously that. I mean, they're not obviously good. They're definitely probably not that good, but are they bad enough that we will look competent against them is a question. Yeah.
Remains to be seen. All
Yeah.
right. So, any prediction for the game?
I guess let's see. I think they'll probably see what the Seahawks did and do the same kind of thing, play a lot of too high, zone under, and will we have any answers to that? No. Well, maybe. I don't mean, I think, if we win it, it'll be like 23. That's a lot of points for us. 23-20. And I could see it also just being like 24-13 or something Patriots. And like my emotionally laden assessment of this team right now wants to say the latter score. So let's do that. 24-13 Patriots is what I'll say.
I am gonna stay. Like one thing I feel like has been a constant throughout my adult life with the Steelers is that Tomlin always surprises at some point. Like, he won a Sunday night game in LA with Duck Hodges, or maybe it was in San Diego at that point. I don't remember where the Chargers were at that time. But like I'm not gonna count him out. I just feel like unfortunately, he sometimes surprises the other way too. When it's just like, oh, I'm sure they're gonna win this game, and then they don't. But I feel like he's gonna keep them in this. Like, I'm gonna say 21-17 Steelers. I think he's gonna keep hope alive for a little while. I
Yeah.
don't think this team's gonna be that bad. I think this team is gonna be like I think Tomlin's going to keep his above non-losing season streak alive. I just, although it would be hilarious if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback that broke it, but
And like broke it very substantially. Like the way like you extrapolate this game over a season and it's a terrible season, right? But yeah, I think that's uh, but I wouldn't be surprised if yeah, 21-17 sounds like a believable score here.
the
I
only unbelievable part is that Boswell is not as involved as I would imagine. But
Yeah, I mean it could be 7 field goals, I guess.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, that would be yeah.
Oh, that's
That
I
would,
should praise Boswell too. Like he's reliable. He made I think 3 40-ish yard field goals in this one. Yeah,
yeah.
Boswell.
He held up his end of the bargain. I was talking about Boswell and Butker being like good distance kickers, and then Butker missed a 58-yarder, which I shouldn't besmirch him for. I'm more upset with Andy Reid about that and Kareem Hunt than I am with Butker, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Well, do you wanna start talking about the Chiefs game now? Because I'm fine moving on from the
All
Steelers
right.
one.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, yeah, where do you want to start? I mean, it was not as bad, I don't think. I mean, I watched the highlights of it. I didn't watch the whole game. But my impression, like, statistically, it was not The Chiefs were not dominated in the way the Steelers were dominated here.
Yeah, I mean, I would reflect on this game in the vein of Aaron Rodgers and just tell all Chiefs fans to relax. Just relax. Just relax. It's going to be fine. Like, obviously, this game was not what we wanted it to be, and there were some extremely frustrating moments. I think it is fair to say that the Chiefs made mistakes that ultimately cost them the game more than anything that the Eagles did spectacularly. But there were some really good signs, I think, in this game. The first being that looking at week one, the question was what was going on in the secondary? What is our defense doing? This looked a lot more like a Steve Spagnuolo defense. They may have simplified coverages. Everyone seemed to know where they were doing. Now, they did blitz a ton. Like wasn't, I mean, maybe that's what they will do all year. That would be cool, but probably not. So this was probably a pretty Eagles specific game plan. They blitzed a lot. They cover zero blitzed a lot. So obviously coverages were a little more simple, like a lot of more man to man. But this defense executed in a way that they hadn't before. There's still the problem of the four-man pass rush that they're going to have to work through. But this defense really gave Jalen Hurts a lot of problems. And they scored 20 points. Of those 20 points, one field goal was on a drive that they didn't move the ball at all. We failed a fourth down at our 30-something. So that was 3 points. One touchdown came on the Mahomes interception, which we will certainly get to. And then one touchdown came from a missed 58-yard field goal, which gave them the ball at their 48-yard line. So they had short drives that led to their scoring. The defense, when put in neutral or advantageous positions, did pretty well throughout the game. So I thought there were a lot of things to like. We played them close. I don't think a lot of people thought we were going to win this game going in with having Worthy out, having Rice out. So Jalen Royals, who's probably, I would argue, probably our fifth best receiver, was also out. I don't know. I picked the Chiefs to win. I picked us to win 2017. We lost 2017. So it was right around, if not for the miscues, that might have been the score. So I'm just not that worried. I think if the defense doesn't look terrible, which I believe in Spagnuolo to get stuff, especially on the back end, sorted out, I think the four-man pass rush is a reasonable worry, and we'll see what they end up doing with that. And the offense, I think, with pieces coming back, is going to look better. I think the run game does stink right now. However, it's early in the year, and I think I would say a big shout out to there's a reporter named Nick Jacobs who does a lot of film review, and he pointed out that the run game looks eerily similar to the 2015 run game early on. After, if those of you who may or may not remember, Jamal Charles got injured. He tore his ACL in like the week 3 of that year. The Chiefs started 1-5, and then ended up changing to a lot more of an aggressive run scheme where they were kind of combo blocking, double teaming, getting to the second level, and the Chiefs rattled off 10 straight wins and went 11-5 and made the playoffs and won our first playoff game since 1993. So there's been a lot of chatter about that the run game, something has to change schematically. And that's probably true. I mean, it looks pretty bad. But we've seen it happen before. I think that it can happen again. And Patrick Mahomes, the other part is Patrick Mahomes looks good this year. This is not, last year there were problems, and, Mahomes wasn't like overall bad, but there were times where his level dropped because of the problems. And I think the big problem was left tackle, where our left tackle looks great this year. Josh Simmons looks great. Kingsley Suamataia, I think, is looking better with each game. Like, he still has some really quick losses that are problematic. But the offensive line, I think, is going to be okay. So, and Mahomes, I thought, played really well in this game. Maybe not as well as he did week 1, but he's been good. So I think the offense is going to figure it out. There's just a lot of chatter about, the Chiefs being 0-2 and things looking bad and Mahomes looking worse. And I'm just gonna say right now, like wait until week 15 when, the Chargers come to Kansas City and we beat them to take the lead in the division and we'll be like 10-4 or maybe even 9-5. Not like world beaters, but we'll be fine and we'll be leading the division. I don't know that we're gonna get that one seed or anything this year, but you know, I could see this team being a 3 seed coming into the playoffs, and if they're clicking on all cylinders, I think that I wouldn't take anybody over us. So I'm not that worried about it yet. Yes, the Bills and the Ravens have deservedly earned the status of being the best teams in the AFC right now. But let's see. Let's see what it looks like down the stretch. I'm not that concerned right now.
Yeah, I think that seems like the right take to me, sort of naively from my. I know we have to take a break here in just a minute, but I guess I wanted to highlight, right, the defense did look good in this, right? Like I think the Eagles had like 216 yards or something total, and I was trying to like what reliably worked for the Eagles. The tush push, but that's always reliably worked for the Eagles. Uh, and then I don't know, right? I mean, AJ Brown made some nice catches. Jalen Hurts scrambled a few times, but like, was there anything that they were doing that was reliably like it was hard for you to stop? I thought it didn't look like it.
No, I mean, there was like one real kind of run fit mistake that led to a Barkley 13-yard touchdown. There was one Devontae Smith. I mean, it was just unfortunate. Like Jalen Hurts against the cover zero underthrew a ball to Devontae Smith, who had a step on McDuffie, and so McDuffie was like selling out to catch back up, and so overran the underthrown ball. It's
Yeah.
bad luck. I mean, that's not McDuffie's forte anyway, tracking the ball and winning jump balls, but this stuff happens. I think that if Travis Kelce doesn't drop that ball, on this is likely a different game. We might be talking about Chiefs win. So
Yeah, I think maybe okay. So we got to take a break, but let's come back, and as soon as we come back, let's talk about that play because I think that was like the play of the game in terms of what determining how who won it. It seems to me. Anyway.
and we're back.
With commentary on the interception that sucked. uh, I guess it did, right? I mean, um, but yeah, who? So it's definitely on Kelsey there, right? Like Mahomes hit him in the hands. Kelsey just looked too late. It seemed like is that the story?
Yeah, and I do think the timing of the throw was taken, it was accelerated a little bit by Jalen Carter with a good rush. But that's to be expected. You're in the red zone, you're running kind of a fake handoff action. It's not surprising that that would happen. I would imagine, Kelsey himself says he should have got his head around earlier. I think Mahomes after the game was like, I need to put that throw on his body instead of out in front of him, which is true, but the truth is that most passes aren't perfect, right? It's hard to throw a perfect pass. That was good enough for that situation, given the pressure, given the timing of the play. Kelsey, and it's not like he's throwing it to Kadarius Toney. He's throwing it to Travis Kelsey. Like you got to make that catch.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, Um, and it's one of, to me, it's one of, if we're going to go like themes of this game, I think one of them was the Chiefs' mistakes, and this was the big one. We're at a position where we could drive in, and if Kelsey catches that, he probably scores, and we go up 17-13 in the fourth quarter. Instead, the pick is returned 41 yards, and the Eagles score a touchdown and go up 20-10.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that was almost on the goal line, right? I mean, like he almost definitely scores if he catches that.
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he would have taken a hit right at about the like 1 yard line or something, but you imagine his momentum probably takes him into the end zone.
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah, that was a huge, I imagine, momentum shift there. Um, but otherwise, Kelsey seemed like he had a pretty good game, right? He made some clutch, big catches in this.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game. The Eagles did kind of key on him at times. He had a good run after the catch where he stiff-armed Cooper DeJean. That certainly wouldn't have happened last year. Definitely looked more spry than last year. So yeah, we'll see. He's unfortunately had pretty crucial mistakes in both games, you know.
Yeah.
Although to me, I read a little bit more about what people who know much more football than I do have to say about mesh, where you run the crossing patterns and one guy's picking for the other. And I actually think Kelsey played a mesh route worse in this game than he did on the play that injured Worthy. Because really, what they say is the picking guy kind of sets the depth where he can, and it's on the other guy to run off of him. So if they run into each other, that's Worthy's fault. You know, Kelsey is trying to get more depth. They're expecting to get more depth. Derwin James kind of jammed him. He wasn't able to get that depth, and then Worthy's got to adjust there. I think he just looked back at the ball a little early and didn't quite read where Kelsey was. However, there was a big third down. They ran mesh, this time Kelsey again setting the pick, this time for Hollywood Brown, where I just feel like Kelsey set up in the wrong spot because it was a 3rd and 1, and Zach Bond, the linebacker, is just standing in like a robber zone right in the middle. And then Kelsey comes up and stands like a yard behind Zach Bond, like closer to the line of scrimmage. And so Brown has to run by Bond and Kelsey. And so he bows back so far in order to make the catch that he's not able to get to the first down marker on 3rd and 1 before he's tackled. That to me feels like a Kelsey, like you got to set up in a place that gets your guy the best chance of making the first down. And that's where we ended up going for it on 4th and 1 in our own territory and not getting it.
Give him the field
Which,
goal. Yeah.
yeah, which I think I don't know why Andy Reid's getting so much criticism for the decision to go for it. I'm fine with going for it on 4th and 1, even there. The Chiefs are a good short yardage team, even as bad as our run game has been this year. And I don't really buy into the whole like, well, we should have just done like a dive play, and the fact that it was like going toward the tackle is a bad idea and you shouldn't do that. Andy Reid has come up with really good plays going in all kinds of directions with misdirection and short yardage. I don't really care about that part of it. The part that I consider a mistake and a frustrating part of that 4th and 1 play is that the hole was being created by Juwan Taylor sealing off Jalen Carter. Juwan Taylor, pretty reliably our worst run blocking offensive lineman. And the other part of the hole was going to be opened up by Noah Gray sealing like the edge on Nolan Smith, who is a light defensive end, but still it's Noah Gray blocking a defensive end. And so like that's the part I didn't understand. Like we have 3 great interior linemen. Josh Simmons is on the left side. The left tackle isn't the best run blocker. I mean, he's an amazing pass blocker so far, knock on wood. His run blocking is not as good as his pass blocking, but I think it's better than Juwan Taylor's. Like, I just didn't understand why we would run behind 2 of our worst blocking matchups and try to get that. That's why it failed. It's not because we pulled a center. It's not. I mean, I understand the point. You know, if you're pulling linemen where the defensive line is firing up, but ultimately, if you have a guy that can seal off and you have a guy that could block the end, you're going to get a first down there. And we just didn't, those were not good matchups to try to exploit. I don't mind the actual play design. It's just who we decided to be blocking whom, and that's who we were relying on for this play to work.
Yeah. It's an interesting choice for why would you choose them to be the blockers that you're relying on here?
Great question.
One thought is that surely the Eagles aren't expecting that, but expect it or not, that sort of doesn't matter, right? They're going to play it the way they're
Yeah,
playing.
it's like if you're
They have better players in
fighting,
position, they're going to win.
yeah,
Right?
it's like if you're fighting someone and they decide to punch themselves in the balls. It's like, well, I didn't expect that, but like, I'm glad you did that. Like,
Yeah,
good.
that's helpful.
It makes it
Yeah.
easier for me.
Yeah. The uh, I guess the other big play, or one other big play here, is the missed field goal, which you said you wanted to talk about and blame Reed and Hunt for. So what's the story there?
Yeah, so that we're in position. The Chiefs have a 3rd and 11, and at this point, where the Chiefs are lined up, it would be about a 56-yard field goal if they got no yardage. Well, Kareem Hunt false starts. And so we lose 5 yards right there. And it's clear from that this was going to be a passing play. The reason why he false started was Zach Bond, the middle linebacker, started creeping toward the line of scrimmage like he was going to blitz. And I think Hunt was ready to get over there in pass protection. And so he just, overbalanced. He started to try to go a little too early and he false started. So there we could lose 5 yards. You're already talking about a long field goal, 5 yards gone. And then on 3rd and 16, Andy Reid changes his mind and decides to just run out of the shotgun. We get 3 yards and we end up in a 58-yard field goal. One of my biggest pet peeves, and usually I'm talking about this in situations where it's like a game-winning field goal drive. I hate it when coaches settle for a long field goal. They're basically like, all right, we're in field goal range, we're good. It's like, to me, if you're settling for any field goal that's above like 45, or for me personally, I'd even say 40, like just keep trying to move the ball. Like, let's not be that conservative. It's not a given that your kicker is going to make a 58-yarder, even if it's Harrison Butker. Now, part of it was that the run play was blown up by, I don't remember the defensive lineman's name on the Eagles, number 97. The way he rushed ended up like what the Chiefs were trying to do was kind of trap block 97 and get a 3 linemen out to the second level to block linebackers, and maybe they thought they could bust a big one. But like, what is a big one on 3rd and 16? Like 8 yards? So you're settling for a 53-yard field goal? That's your best case scenario. In my opinion, if you just run a pass play for 8 yards, they're probably going to give that to you on 3rd and 16. Just do that. And maybe you can run like a slant to Hollywood Brown. If he breaks a tackle, maybe you get 12 or 13 yards. But I can't justify running the football, especially with our run game, which is terrible, in a situation where if you get 0 yards, you can get a 61-yard field goal. That is not a place to be running the ball. You have to be more aggressive than that. I feel like your bare minimum, in that situation should be you try to get 8 to 10 yards there. So that really annoyed me. And then, of course, they missed the field goal anyway. So I just didn't like that process, especially now you're talking about a game where you lose by 3 points. And, a couple of miscues here really cost them. The fourth down situation with the Hollywood Brown mesh third down play plus the play they called ended up giving 3 points to the Eagles. The 2 plays, the false start plus the run play took away 3 points from the Chiefs, and then the Travis Kelce drop took away 7 points from the Chiefs, and ultimately the Eagles got 7 on that end. So these are big, high leverage mistakes that the Chiefs made in a close loss.
Yeah. Which I think like is reason to think that like ultimately they were the better team here. They made the sort of more crucial mistakes at the key moments. But if you play that game again, I would probably pick the Chiefs to win it. But you don't play it again, I guess. That's what sucks.
But what's weird, and I mean, this is very much a hindsight statement. I feel like no matter what the outcome, someone could justify it either way. But having done it the other way last year, I would rather make mistakes and lose a game than make mistakes and win, because I feel like there might be a little more impetus to try to change things.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs really just were content with letting Mahomes paper things over. And I am a firm believer, honestly, that the Chiefs team in the playoffs last year was worse than this current Chiefs team, assuming we get Rice and Worthy back healthy. I think this will be a better team, and the main reason is Josh Simmons versus Joe Tooney at left tackle. I think that's going to make a world of difference for this team. And we're having Rice back, right? We didn't have Rice last year. And I think Kelsey's a little bit better than he was last year, too. So this team, I think, is going to be a little better. The big negative is not having Justin Reed on the back end, and that is dependent on how much you trust Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt, which I trust them a lot. So I'm not going to worry about that until it's proven to be a problem late in the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right. So just like like position group by position group here and think like what are the prospects going forward? So the offensive line pass blocking has been a real strength, I think. Mahomes has been good. The receivers have been banged up or just not playing, but once they're back, right, Mahomes being sharp in the offensive line pass blocking as well as they are, it's like, well, that they're the ingredients right there for having a very dangerous offense. And yeah, it'd be nice to get the running game figured out. I guess that's, you know, there's time to do that still.
Well, and I think there are two very important things, like bouncing, coming off of that, that are already showing themselves. One is that the line is not only blocking better, but I feel like they're blocking a little more in the way that Mahomes has liked through his career. When Mahomes was the kind of high flying, deep ball throwing player, he had tackles that were really good. And the line in general was very good at washing ends around the end, or like around the pocket, or on the back of the pocket, so Mahomes could step up and through. And he was able to take very deep drops. Remember, Patrick Mahomes would typically drop a lot deeper than your 7 step. He'd be a 9 step, sometimes 11 step drop. And he started to do that again, which he hasn't in a couple years. He's comfortable doing that. And I think that allows for some deep shots, that allows for more creative escapes from the pocket. And he's like really cutting. If you notice, his scrambles are not like just like bailing out or running for his life. He's getting like a B gap or an A gap opening up because the defenders are washed around the sides and he's just stepping up and through. That I haven't seen consistently in the last couple of years until this year. So I think it's not just quality of blocking, but the style of this line matches Mahomes' preferred style a lot more, and he just seems more comfortable. Uh, and the other part is, I think the whole deep ball thing is a little overblown. I went back and looked. Mahomes missed a couple shots. He missed. There was one like egregious one where Tyquan Thornton was running wide open and Mahomes just sailed. I mean, that was maybe the worst deep ball I've ever seen Patrick Mahomes throw. It was bad. I'm not making any excuses for that. He also sailed a corner pattern to Noah Gray that they've hit like a million times in the last 2 years. It's always like seems to be in the Chiefs' opening script, and it was a second down play on their first drive this time, and he just missed him. But besides that, they talk about the other two incompletions deep to Tyquan Thornton before he hit the one. Both of those were great throws. One of them, Thornton jumped up, got his hands on it, couldn't bring it in. The other one, he again jumped over a defender. He actually pinned it to his chest, and then the defender kind of was able to rake it out. But I like the chemistry that's developing between Mahomes and Tyquan Thornton. I like that they keep trying this, and I think they will get it together. I think then once we get Worthy will be an additional deep threat, which will help open things up. I'm not worried about the Mahomes deep ball. I think it's coming. I think, assuming Worthy doesn't have any setbacks in his recovery and that Rice is healthy and ready to go, I'm not concerned about the offense. And the question then becomes whether you think this defense can be passable. They don't need to be 2023 Chiefs defense, but can they be 2022 Chiefs defense? I think they can. And so I feel like we're going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah. You convinced me. There's more reason for optimism here. I didn't even see the incomplete to Thornton, the one where he missed him badly. But I do remember the one was along the left sideline, right? But the one that
That
is that
went
the
through
one?
his hands. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
He
I don't
like
remember.
leapt for it and it went through his hands. There was one down the right sideline too, where that's the one he jumped for and kind of pinned it on his shoulder with his left hand, and the defender was able to kind of get it out. Um, the one where he missed him was kind of it was on the left side. He ran like a corner pattern, and the like the Madden corner pattern where they come in and bend it
Yeah.
back out. And the safety and corner like tripped over each other. The corner tripped over the safety, and so he's just running by himself. And the ball literally was like 10 yards over his head. It was not good. Like if
Yeah.
Mahomes just threw it straight up in the air, like he would have come. Like there was nobody to come contest that. Like he just needed enough air. Like he could have underthrown it by 5 yards, overthrown it by five. As long as he just threw it up, it would have been fine. But he didn't get enough loft on it.
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while you just have one of those like, oh, what was that?
Yeah.
uh, I have this memory of it was maybe like 2018. Ben playing the Chargers on a Sunday night football game, maybe. We were like in the red zone and he goes to throw it and I don't know what happened. Something went wrong with the throwing motion or something, but he basically just like lobs it straight up in the middle of the field. And I don't remember if it was picked or not, but it was just like, I was like, what? Like, but it was a nice gift for the Chargers. Yeah, I mean, you play long enough, he makes some weird throws.
Yeah. And I think that, because I feel like the stats have been circulating a lot in the last couple of days about Mahomes' deep ball statistics from 2018 to 2022 and then from 2023 to present. I'm not as concerned about the 2023 deep ball stats. I think a lot of that was chemistry with receiver problem. I think in 2024, that started to extend a little bit to Mahomes too. I think it started to get to him, and he was not throwing the ball as well as he normally does. I think of his career, I thought he played the worst in 2024 of any of the seasons. He still had some really great games like that. I thought he was awesome in the AFC Championship game, but it just wasn't quite up to his level. This year, he looks back to me. I think he's back to throwing the deep ball well. I'm not worried about it. It's going to come together if he keeps playing like he is now.
Yeah. Um, no, I mean, nothing I've seen so far from him this year looks worrying, right? I mean, it's hard to worry about Patrick Mahomes anyway, but I guess you could say last year was a down year for him. Um, a down year when they went 15-2. That's fine. Um, is there anyone else to highlight as like a very good or very bad individual performance in this game for the Chiefs? Um,
No, I just will reiterate that I thought the defense, Spags called a great game. He was ready. Um, I guess the other thing I'll say is that, like, I just don't care that much about this whole tush push debate. I
yeah,
don't, I
yeah, it seems
mean,
like it's reinvigorated after this week.
yeah, I mean, because there were a lot of instances where it looked like the Eagles were false starting, especially the guards. And like as people have pointed out, that's not really tush push related. That's just quarterback sneak related. Like, they should. It seems like it's very hard for them to officiate, but yeah, that's not ideal. It does seem like too that in general, both for the offense and the defense, they seem to kind of apply different neutral zone rules when you're running a sneak compared to just a normal football play. I don't really understand why they do that. Like, why don't they just make people line up over the ball the way that they always line up over the ball? That's kind of strange to me. Let's just do that. In I, the part that I think everyone forgets about the tush push, if you're actually going to ban that uh, specific play, is that you're talking about banning in general offensive players from pushing other offensive players forward when they have the ball. I don't really have strong opinions on that. I think if you were to ask me for sure, like if I had to pick one, I would probably say no. But then you lose the whole like running back in the pile and like an offensive lineman
Yeah.
comes in and shoves it forward. I'm not like particularly beholden to that play, so I don't mind if that goes away. Uh, but I don't know. I just don't care. Like I don't care that much. Let's just pick one as the rule and let's go forward with it. More than whether the tush push is legal or not, I think that if they just kind of figure out how to legislate like where you can line up on a quarterback sneak that is equitable and how like if they're able to actually monitor false starting on those plays, then I don't really care whether the person is pushed from behind or not.
Yeah. Um, I don't have strong feelings about it either, having not been very affected by it, maybe. But we find other ways to lose games. So, um, but yeah, I don't know. It just feels like yeah, that's a way to in certain not particularly common situations, although maybe they showed up more frequently in this game for some reason. It's a very effective way of converting. But um, there was something else I was thinking of asking, but I don't remember what. Do you want to predict the? So you play the at the Giants, right? Next week.
Yeah, here. Well, not here, but across the river in
Oh
New
yeah,
Jersey.
nice. Yeah. Uh, are you going?
No, not going. I will not be going to a football game until my kids are a lot older.
That makes sense. Um, okay, well, what's your prediction for this one? Is it Russell Wilson, definitely?
I think so. I think it's Russell Wilson, and I think he's gonna have a good game against us. It just feels like one of those annoying, like, last time the Chiefs were here, Zach Wilson was firing on all cylinders against us. I feel like it's gonna be something like that, where it's just like, why is this happening?
Why
And I'm
against
like,
us, right? Yeah.
I'm like up late on a Sunday, and I'll be really tired on Sunday night, and watching Russell Wilson like throw it like just over the arms of a defender. Like I'm ready for this, and I think we'll win, but I think it's gonna be stupid. I feel like it's gonna be like 27-24, and the entire narrative the next day is gonna be like, well. They won, but this team does not look good. The Chiefs were just inches away from 0-3, and I feel like that's what it's going to be like. I'm not. I mean, I hope it's a great experience, but I have a feeling I will not have fun.
I haven't followed Russell Wilson so far this year, but has he done anything that would make you think? Because when you played him last year, it was easy for you. Uh,
That's true.
uh, is
But
there anything that would make you think that it's going to be a substantially different
I mean,
game?
I don't know if you. So the one thing I did catch a little bit of the early game is I saw the ending of Cowboys Giants,
Mm.
and oh mama, Russell Wilson was just like throwing up prayers and having them caught. So
Yeah,
I could see that happening. I mean, not to discount, like, he threw the ball at distance with accuracy, and Neighbors brought it down. That was, I mean, speaking of dumb, like the Cowboys ran a draw to set up a 64-yard game tying field goal. You talk about like my pet peeve and how much I hate, like, I couldn't believe, and then he made it, of course, like, but he rewarded that stupidity.
yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Wilson, that fourth quarter, he looked good. I think that's the precursor for how he's going to look against us. Like one thing our corners are not very good at is tracking the ball on deep moonshots. So I think that's what we're going to see, and it's not going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, they were fine against it last year, or maybe we didn't do many moonshot. I don't know. That game is sort of, I didn't try to remember it too carefully, right? Um, but I guess I would be more optimistic from your perspective that I could certainly see that 27-24 and the narrative being, yeah, this was touch and go for the Chiefs. Kind of feels to me like yeah, I mean 27 is a good number there. 27-20, but maybe they get to 20 late. Um, so it's not really competitive late.
Yeah. I mean, I have not had a comfortable Chiefs win, and probably since we played the Steelers, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's actually true. So that would be nice.
Yeah. I hope we get some, yeah, a comforting win here. Uh, good. What speaking of draw plays that are annoying before a presumed field goal, I have the opposite side of things, which I didn't mention this one, which is the third and goal from the 19-yard line the Seahawks had. They ran, I think it was a draw play, and Kenneth Walker broke it for a
Oh
touchdown.
my
Like
God.
that also
I
felt like a
was
testament to this kind of game.
I was actively angry when that play happened. I was so mad because I was like, okay, here we go. There's going to be a chance to make this a game. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
watching at this point. My memory is like, because I think what ended up happening was I like went to my hotel room somewhere around like it must have been like 2 o'clock Eastern or something, and so I was watching. I had Red Zone on my phone, and I had the Giants Cowboys, or it was another game first. It was Bears against someone, but they were getting their clocks cleaned, so they ended up changing the Giants Cowboys.
Yeah. Was it the Lion? Who
Oh,
did
it
the
was the
Bears?
Lions. Yeah, the Lions were just absolutely killing the Bears.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Well, whatever, I don't know. I'm glad we gave some joy to Seahawks fans 'cause, like, at least someone's happy after that. But that was a painful game. There's not a lot of Yeah, that was painful. Um, Anything else? What other games are this week that are like worth looking forward to? Um, I was checking the schedule now. Um,
Well,
yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot
the
of like,
Rams Eagles, I feel like could be interesting. I feel like
yeah,
that'll be a fun game.
Rams, Eagles. I guess Broncos, Chargers could be fun.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna lose, right?
Yeah, that's true. I just don't. I mean, I think I flipped. I just bought into the hype of the Broncos a little too, like, which is funny because I've been crapping on them all the time. But I didn't have the stones. I think in hindsight, I should have flipped the Broncos and Chargers. I had the Chargers like falling to the bottom of the division, and everyone was so high on the Broncos, and I didn't believe it, but I didn't have the boldness to go against conventional wisdom.
Yeah,
Um, I wish I did, but instead, yeah, I think the Chargers are going to be the team that makes us sweat for the division, not the Broncos.
yeah. It seems like they might be pretty competent this year. Yeah, I mean they were competent last year, but there's also
I don't think.
Detroit Baltimore this on
Oh,
Monday, which that
that'll
could
be
be
a
fun.
good game. Oh yeah, that'll be exciting. I will look forward to that. Although with less gusto if we lose to the Giants. So
Yeah, it's
let's
interesting
figure this
how
one
like
out.
a loss really just sort of it's like okay, I guess I'll pay attention to some of these games, but it takes the enthusiasm out of it. Yeah.
I wonder. Oh, am I going to be able to get the Steelers game? What? Let's see. What do I think they would show in New York? Oh, in fact, the NFL maps might be up. This is incredible podcasting, probably for people listening to this. This must be
You must be
so exciting.
on tenterhooks to learn whether
Whether I'm going to
Steelers
get the
game will be
Steelers game
available in the New
here.
York area. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, let's find out.
sure it won't be down
Nope.
here.
Wait, what? This is the wrong week. Oh, no. This is week 2024. I was like, what? The Steelers aren't playing the Chargers. All right. This remains very exciting for everybody. It is the Pittsburgh game. Yes. I'm going
Oh,
to get the
cool.
Steelers game in New
Well,
York
that might not
City.
be something to be happy about. Yeah.
So,
Um,
for the first time this year, I will watch the entirety of both the Steelers game and the Chiefs game. All right.
well, I'm sure you've seen it already, but like the thing that I can't get over in the Steelers really is Aaron Rodgers' helmet. It's like the helmet from like 2000. It doesn't have any of like like the vents or the lines on the new helmet. It's just like the old circle helmet,
Yeah.
sphere helmet. It looks like Tommy Maddox. Like it's basically Tommy Maddox's back because it's number 8. It's that same helmet that Maddox was wearing. It's weird.
Did I ever tell you the funny, like, in my Madden franchise, like a couple years ago, Aaron Rodgers ended up going to the Steelers, and I remember finding it like looking really weird, like seeing him, and now it's weird to see that in real life. Man,
Yeah.
because it was one of those in Madden you were like, this would never happen. This looks so dumb. And like
Yeah.
now it has happened in real life. That's what he looks like.
Yeah. Sometimes I like those Madden, you get like 2 or 3 seasons or 3 or 4 seasons into a franchise mode and weird things start happening and you start thinking this would never happen, but
Yeah, it's like Bud
it does
Dupree's a
sometimes.
multi-time defensive player of the year. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Bud Dupree.
That actually happened. I didn't even make that up. Like that happened in my Madden season. I was like, oh, wow, Madden really had a high opinion of Bud Dupree.
Turned a
Okay.
corner. Um, all right. Well, hopefully next week we'll have more enjoyable games to talk about. But regardless, we'll enjoy talking about them. Like it's fun to. This gives me like an outlet to express my emotions over the Steelers, which is nice. Right? Otherwise, I just have to like sit with them. So um, good. But yeah, hopefully we have some more exciting games to talk about.
Yeah, we had several weeks last year where both teams won. I feel like let's do that again. That was fun.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. All right. Well, anything else before we sign off?
No, that's it. Just the rest of the Chiefs film review will be out soon after this podcast goes up on YouTube. Otherwise, please continue to follow along. We'll try to post stuff on socials. And otherwise, until next time.